Hey there, and welcome to Beyond Survival, a Pathway to Peace. I'm your host, Naomi Stanchfield. If you're living with the effects of trauma or PTSD, you're in the right place. I know what it's like to live in survival mode, always waiting for the next shoe to drop. For years, I searched for peace, for a way to feel safe in my own body again. That search became the foundation of the work I do today as a trauma-informed coach. This podcast is here to support you as you begin your own journey towards a calmer, more peaceful life. Each week, we'll explore real tools, heartfelt conversations, and simple practices to help you heal, one step at a time. You don't have to walk this path alone. Let's take it together. Welcome back to another week. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like you just can't trust yourself anymore? You're not alone. Today, we're talking about self-trust, why we lose it, and how we can start trusting ourselves again. So many of us that have gone through trauma have lost trust in ourselves along the way. Trust in our ability to keep ourselves safe, trust in our abilities to make good decisions, trust that we will follow through, trust that we are good enough, and the list goes on and on. This makes healing, growing, and living a fulfilled life very difficult. If you don't trust yourself, you're less likely to go after your dreams, to make positive changes, or to want to invest in yourself. I was there about 3.5 years ago. I had just gotten out of a very verbally and mentally abusive relationship after suffering many other traumas in my past, and I felt lost. I didn't trust myself to make good decisions. Hello. I had just chosen to be in a toxic relationship for 3 years. I obviously didn't know how to make good decisions for myself. I thought that everything that had happened to me over the years was my fault. I was weak, stupid, and allowed people and situations to just railroad me. I no longer trusted myself to protect me or to know what was best. I let a business that I had been working on completely fall apart because I had convinced myself that I wasn't good enough. I was going to counseling, but honestly, most of the time I lied or I withheld information because I didn't trust myself to be fully invested in my healing. It was a dark place. I felt lost, hopeless, fearful, and above all else, broken. But little by little, I made small changes. And eventually, I started to trust myself. Every new decision that I made pushed me in that right direction. Every time I was honest with myself about how I was feeling, every time I was compassionate with myself, they all added up. It wasn't an overnight transformation. It was a gradual shift inside of me. Now, the Oxford Dictionary describes trust as a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. I think that this definition is very telling in how and why we may lose trust in ourselves after trauma. Trauma triggers feelings of shame, guilt, and worthlessness, which oftentimes leads to a negative perception of yourself, lack of self-compassion, and a deep internal belief that you are to blame. This shatters your belief in your truth, your strength, and your ability. Trauma can also cause your brain to develop coping mechanisms that at the time were helpful, but they no longer serve you. These could include disconnecting from your bodily cues and internalizing negative beliefs, which over time will make it difficult to trust your own judgment, your needs, and your ability to stay safe. This shatters the belief in your truth, your strength, and your ability. And when we stop trusting ourselves, we can develop low self-esteem and poor decision-making, which then furthers our belief that we can't trust ourselves. It becomes a negative spiral where our lack of trust in ourselves causes us to make worse decisions, and our bad decisions create less trust in ourselves. This shatters the belief in your reliability. Some traumatic events can even shatter a person's sense of identity, which makes it difficult to find a stable sense of yourself. As we discussed last week, your nervous system tends to stay at a higher alert after a trauma, which affects your ability to return to a feeling of safety and security. This can disconnect you from your body's cues, making it difficult for you to listen to or even trust your own body. This shatters the belief in your truth. So we can see how the symptoms and effects of trauma can slowly, or at times very quickly, cause us to completely lose trust in ourselves. This is a problem for a number of reasons, some of which I just mentioned. It can cause us to make poor decisions or have difficulty making decisions at all. It can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and depression. And it can lead to a lot of people-pleasing actions and overthinking. All of these things are counterproductive to healing. So I would say if you wanted to pick a starting point on your healing journey, or if you are stuck and want to get back on track, focusing on learning to trust yourself again is the perfect place to begin. So, how do we start trusting ourselves again? Like I said earlier, this isn't going to be an overnight transformation. There isn't some magic pill you can take and wake up tomorrow trusting yourself. It takes a lot of small actions that slowly build trust. Think about it. You don't meet someone and instantly trust them. They do small things like show up when you make plans with them, call you when you're having a bad day, or be a kind ear when you need to talk. All of those little things add up over time until you trust them. The same goes with learning to trust yourself. Some things you can practice to start making that shift include focusing on small, achievable goals, grounding and body awareness techniques that help you reconnect with your body, conscious decision making, practicing self-compassion, changing the way you think, and there are so many more ways. We'll go in depth on a lot of these in upcoming podcast episodes, but for today, I'll give you a brief overview of some of these practices. Here are 4 ways that you can start today. First, focus on small, achievable goals. This helps you prove to yourself that you can follow through. Over the months, years, or even decades that you've been suffering with the effects of trauma and PTSD, you have most likely made goals that you never followed through with. This has taught your mind to not trust yourself when you say that you're going to start that diet tomorrow for the 10th time this year. You fail at your goals before you even start them if you don't believe that they will happen. So start with small, achievable goals and then do them. Every small goal you accomplish will show your mind that you can follow through and achieve your goals. When I did this, I started small. Told myself I will finish reading this book this month. I could have told myself that I'd finish it this week, but if I didn't, I knew that it was just going to prove to myself that I couldn't follow through again. The next one you can practice is conscious decision making. Taking time to weigh options helps you make thoughtful choices and strengthens your belief in your own judgment. Most of us make decisions without truly thinking them through, rushed because we don't trust ourselves to make rational decisions. So might as well just decide based on the first thing that pops into our heads. This is what leads to poor decision making. So practice taking a few moments to truly weigh your options. Determine the positive and negative for each side. Decide if the decision you're going to make aligns with your values. Then make the decision from a thoughtful and healthy place. The third one is practicing self-compassion and changing the way you think. Being kind to yourself breaks negative self-beliefs and nurtures a supportive inner voice, which deepens our self-trust. These two go hand in hand. We are critical of ourselves because we have convinced ourselves that we are fat, stupid, useless, lazy, unlovable, and all of those other mean things that we say to ourselves. Then we use everything that happens in our life to prove to ourselves that these things are true. Didn't get that job promotion? It's because you're stupid. That guy didn't call you back for a second date? It's because you're fat and unlovable. But the truth is, you're none of those things. We need to focus on changing the way we think and changing the way we talk to ourselves. And that starts with reframing your thoughts. I'm going to do a whole podcast on this in the future, but I use what I like to call stepping stone thoughts to help me change my thinking. This practice involves taking a negative thought you have, like I'm stupid, and working towards a goal thought, like I'm smart. Now, just saying I'm smart when you truly and deeply believe that you're stupid isn't going to change your thinking, and it isn't going to make you feel any better. But picking a stepping stone thought that is in between those, now that can be useful on your path to changing your thinking. So now, instead of thinking I'm stupid, you can think I made a mistake and that's frustrating. Well, it doesn't make you feel incredible thinking that. I guarantee that it makes you feel better than thinking I'm so stupid. Self-compassion happens in small changes like this made over and over again. The last one we're going to talk about today is grounding and bodily awareness. Reconnecting with your body teaches your nervous system to trust your internal signals, helping you feel safer and more in control. These are very somatic approaches. Now, if that term is new for you, somatic simply means relating to the body. So these are very body action-oriented practices. A simple one is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Stop, get in touch with your body, and then name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel or touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This pulls your attention into your present sensory experiences and stabilizes your awareness. You can also practice mindful breath work, such as slow, equal breathing with one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach, focusing on the sensations of breath moving through your body, how it lifts and fills your chest and your stomach. Another one is meditation. It's a great practice. There are tons of great guided meditation videos on YouTube that can help you reconnect with your body. Take it slowly and be kind to yourself. Meditation takes practice. Be aware that it can bring up emotions, and that's normal. Just make sure that you're in a quiet and safe place before you begin. Now, all of these are going to take practice. You may feel silly in the beginning or find some practices much harder to get into than others. The practices that I mentioned are not all-inclusive. There are many, many practices that you can do to start building back self-trust. Just take it one step at a time, and soon you will find that you trust yourself again. Maybe not all the way at first, but you will find small moments where it's easier to make a decision, saying no to something that you don't want to do, maybe even having a positive thought about yourself. That is when the true healing can begin. Once we have laid the foundation of trust in ourselves, we can begin to lay more stepping stones along the path to healing. Remember, every small step toward trusting ourselves is a step toward peace. Thank you so much for joining me today on Beyond Survival, A Pathway to Peace. I'm so grateful to walk alongside you on this journey. Remember, healing isn't about perfection. It's about returning to yourself one small step at a time. Every time you show up for yourself like this, you're building something beautiful, a life beyond trauma. Healing is a journey, and every step, no matter how small, is meaningful. Be gentle with yourself along the way, and remember, you don't have to do it alone. If you're finding things especially hard right now, please don't hesitate to reach out for professional support. You don't have to do this alone. Help is out there and healing is possible. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with someone on their own path. Also, if you found value in today's episode, I invite you to connect with me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Beyond Survival Pathway. There you'll find more insights, encouragement, and community support. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you'll be with us for the next part of the journey. And consider joining our Facebook book club, Beyond Survival, Healing Through Stories. It's a welcoming place to explore transformation through shared stories and connect with others on the path to healing. Until next time, keep putting one foot in front of the other. You're not walking alone, and the path to peace is unfolding with every step. Let's keep walking this journey together. Take care, and I'll meet you back here soon.